So welcome everyone, we're here today for Spine Magazine, and this is Suzanne Dean, the wonderful Suzanne Dean, who is the head art director
and creative director for vintage books at Penguin Random House, UK.
So many of the books that you see in bookshops, turn it around and there's Suzanne's name. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited to be here today talking to you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you here.
I know that you started off in packaging design, and I was kind of interested to see how you approach that differently. Books are a sort of package in a way, but for something a lot more abstract than shampoo or tea.
Yes, well, certainly my packaging days are a long time ago, so they're in the distant past, but trying to remember was very, very restrictive. And that was frustrating. I'm sure some people will have some amazing inventive bits of packaging that have got through, but as far as the kind of work that I was given, I was a junior designer, and it was so frustrating. If it was vegetables in it, had to have green on the cover, on the front of the box. If it was meat, it had to be red. It was so formulaic. And so when I decided to leave, and I really had enough, it was too restrictive, and I fell into the job at then Penguin, and it was such a relief to read manuscripts and use your imagination and commission, and it was just to respond, have empathy with the contents of the book, and it was a joy. Yeah,
you're kind of a translator in some ways, going from the written word.
That's right. It's trying to find the essence of the content of the book. That's always what I think the approach of a book jacket designer should be.
So you've worked on so many different covers, and I was just wondering if you have any particular favourites.
Oh no!
Or is this where you were allowed to get away with a bit more, maybe?
I suppose it's where you try something different and people let you take those steps, and production help you do something that's unexpected, and it could be like Sense of an Ending, putting that black edge. That was a nice moment, and that was very successful. Or the hardback C, did you see that, where it was on acetate? So it's on acetate.
Yeah.
And when you open it up, take it off, so all the text is in white on the acetate.
Fantastic, yeah.
And I had to work out how the end papers would fall so that you could read the text on the white
just hold that up.
So there you go.
That's wonderful.
And what's lovely is when you take that off, of course, it's just got the big C.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of that. So that's the kind of thing, and there's almost too many to mention, but those are the kinds of things when you get away with something a bit extra and it works, and that's exciting, and you get that feeling, that buzz of having taken a big step.
I mean, it's hard to tell how much of a book's cover is, or how much of a book's success is down to the cover, but
very hard to tell.
I would say a lot of it.
As a designer of book covers, of course, I'm bound to say.
Yeah. But as a bookseller, just observing people in bookshops, people do like to pick up things that look a bit
that's what you kind of want to do, is to sort of attract a passerby and get them to stop and pick it up. And when you think about, it's that conventional space that we're doing each time, dealing with, and it, how can you make a difference? How can you make someone stop?
Yeah.
So catch their eye and engage them.
And you would think that would be more restrictive in some ways than packaging design, because with packaging you could do all different shapes and things, but yet it's such a creative medium.
Actually, that is quite conventional sometimes. You get told it's in a box like that.
Yeah.
People in supermarkets weren't willing to take that step, from my point of view anyhow, what I was suggesting. I mean, I've told people before, but there was some rich and creamy yogurts that I was trying to design Gustav Klimt-like gold round fruit, do it in that style, and I got told it was too exciting, and
Well, I mean, from a design point of view, when I go into the supermarket and I see something different, it definitely makes me want to buy it.
Yes, exactly. That's what I would have thought, but the buyers there did not want to know.
My favourite design of yours is still the Grace Keepers.
Oh, really? Yeah.
embodies everything that I think great design is. And I'm always, when I'm talking about book design on my channel, I always go back to this example because it's got beautiful end papers, it's got beautiful, when you take the dust jacket off, it's different. So I was wondering if you could talk us through a little bit of the process. I know it's been a little while since.
Oh gosh, it's been such a long time. Well, there were lots of toing and froing with the illustrator and lots of roughs, and we involved the author and editor quite early on, and lots of revises to get everyone in agreement. And it was such a special book. Yeah. That's why the boards were done in that way. And it, how do you entice somebody into a debut? And it's an important thing. In fact, we're doing it with The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock. You see all the stuff on my wall there, the reference material, and the book cover's now been approved. Do you want to see what it's like?
Are we allowed a sneaky peek?
You're allowed a sneaky peek.
Fantastic.
It's been approved. It's stuff but this is like gold spot, and then there's big shells on the front.
Yeah. Just have to hold that one up there.
And I really recommend this book. It's so fantastic. Yes, so gold and shells are going to be embossed, and wonderful spine and different textures and fabrics from the period of the book sets, the 18th century. Yeah. It is such a fantastic read. I think you're going to love it. But yeah, one to look out for.
Wonderful. Oh, thank you for that.
Sneak preview.
How do you know when you're at that point? Is it when the deadline comes, or is it...
Well, we're always working to lots of deadlines. And I tend to work up quite a lot of visuals, lots of different approaches. And I will get a mood board together, then I'll work up the visuals, then I'll talk to the editor, and those will get cut down a bit, and then they might get revised a little bit, shown at the jacket meeting, and there'll be feedback. And then I might do a bit more work, then it's shown to the author, then there'll be feedback, I'll do some more work, and then it's shown again at the cover meeting, and hopefully by that point, author, agent, all the people are lined up saying yes. Yeah. And that's sort of what happened as far as this one's concerned. There were lots of different stages and a lot of research. Yeah. So that's how it works. But yeah, I tend to sort of scatter and then home in.
How many of these projects would you have on the go at any one time?
I have about 30 different titles on the go at any
30?
time. Yeah. And they're all at different stages. So some of them might have just been briefed. I might be reading manuscripts, doing research, working up visuals, doing artwork. So there's quite, probably about 3 months work at one time on the go. So that's about 30. Yeah.
It's an awful lot of juggling.
Yeah, it is a lot of juggling.
Wow.
But it makes every day very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just looking at this mood board here. Does this change quite frequently then?
Well, not that frequently, actually. If I have a massive project on that I know there's going to be a lot of attention on, that will change because I need to focus. I mean, I'm really at the point where it's obviously finished and I'm going to have to stick some more up on there, but I think they ought to take some photographs of that before I take it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why it's hovered there, even though the book's finished its design. They're quite keen as far as recording that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see a sort of progression over time of how that changes.
When I was doing The Noise of Time, the Julian Barnes, it was all Soviet kind of graphics, and if you squinted you could tell what colour the cover should be, because it was mostly that sort of red and black and sort of brownish colours.
So you work as a creative director. Can you tell me a bit more about what exactly that means that you're...
So I've got a team. We all work on vintage books, and I look after the team. When they need help, I'll be there for them, give them advice. I go to lots of meetings, and I'll go to the cover meeting. I'll feed things back. I give out the briefs, organise who does what. We have quite a democratic way of doing things. We talk about it, and if somebody's got close links to a certain author, they will tend to work on their next book. Some people may want to work on a subject matter that they're obsessed with, a football book or something like that, and I try to accommodate them wherever possible. And that's how it sort of works its way out. We try to be fair, try to give people variety.
Yeah.
But there are certain books that fall with certain people. And we also get involved in some marketing stuff occasionally. We did the On Tyranny posters that were up in Shoreditch, which I don't know if you saw it. It's quite a slender book.
Oh yes, yeah.
And the chapters weren't too long. There are a few pages. So Will Smith from the marketing department came to me and said, "Do you think there's any possibility that we could do posters for each chapter?" So we ended up, each person had one or two from this department, and then I got some students involved at Kingston University, the graphics course, and everyone, they had about 3 or 4 students working on one poster, and we had 1 or 2 each. And so all the chapters, I think there was something like 28, 29 different posters, and they were posted up down one street, so the whole book was posted up in a row.
Wow.
And it was there for about a week. It was incredible. So
I
things
that.
like that are really, really creative and exciting. It's great for us to be involved in.
Yeah, going outside of the box of that.
Yeah,
book.
and we we printed out the posters and stuck it, and sort of the wall of my office was covered with this poster, and suddenly to work on a scale from this to, height ceiling to the floor, so different for us.
Yeah.
It's good.
Exciting.
Good for us to do something that different.
So is there a particular role that you prefer, to be doing the graphic design yourself, or to be sort of orchestrating the team?
Well, it's nice to have a variety.
Yeah, for sure.
But sometimes I sometimes feel I'm at so many meetings. Well, I've got this work to do.
Yeah.
In fact, I work at home on Fridays, and I get a hell of a lot of work done when my head's down and I'm going through without any interruption. So I have a mix of the two things.
Yeah. So I was wondering if we could have a little bit of a chat about the difference between UK and US covers and how those two markets kind of differ.
Well, it's always a bit of a mystery, the difference between the UK taste and the US taste. And I would very happily look at some of the, say, Knopf covers and happily buy lots of those when I'm in America. I often go around the bookshops there, sort of filling my bags with, lots of different variations that I can't get over here. And I really admire some of the work, Peter Mendelssohn, Carol Carson, Darren Hagger, who in fact used to work here, works for Penguin Random House. He's been there for about 20 years, but he's a great designer. There are loads of people over there whose work is fantastic. But some of the work, I would say, is so far away from what you can find in the English bookshops. It's extraordinary, the difference.
Yeah.
So it's just taste. It's what people think the public want. Once it's worked already, then you say, well, this has worked. And so it continues on, I suppose.
I mean, you wouldn't think that they'd be that different, though, because the internet and Pinterest and Instagram, you're seeing all these different influences, so you would think it would kind of merge, but it's interesting that they do have those very different aesthetics.
Yes, and quite a lot of the ones that you will see repeatedly on Pinterest, etc., are the ones, say, Knopf covers, etc. So those are the ones that I think are more similar to the ones here. So maybe that's how you can see the grey area merging in between.
You've worked with some of the biggest names in publishing: Julian Barnes, Haruki Murakami. Are there any?
I'm lucky, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. Are there any authors or particular books or projects that you haven't worked on yet that you would be dream projects?
I can't answer that question because do you know what I'm laughing about the fact that I'm so lucky, but I am so lucky. Vintage Books has the most fantastic list of authors.
It really does.
And I can pick and choose what I want to work on. And I would buy those authors in the bookshop to read if I wasn't working. I am so lucky. And I've been introduced to a huge range of authors that I hadn't read before working in this job. And I love reading their manuscripts. And even now, when I get a manuscript, I get that kind of exciting buzz.
Yeah.
First hands on this manuscript. It's great. I can't say that I'm missing anything.
No. Well, if you get a manuscript and you read it and you think, oh gosh, this is really not for me. But
It's so rare.
Yeah.
It's maybe once or twice in my whole career I've
Wow.
had that I thought this subject matter is not for me.
Yeah.
And really, it's very fortunate.
That's incredible. I think about the number of books that I read and the number of books that I sort of go, oh no.
No.
You would
And
think
of course, it's a challenge. Every different subject
Yeah.
matter, you're working on finding a solution in a slightly different visual.
you're reading it in a different way because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, when I'm reading manuscripts, I'm going along, underlining things or folding pages over.
Yeah.
And instantly connecting things in your head with what you've seen recently. Often, that if you've been to an exhibition or in an art gallery or seen something on TV, and you store it away, and then it pops up about 2 or 3 months later. It's surprising how that happens, and then you'll move on, and there'll be another thing that pops up on the next project. Because inspiration is so important.
Along those lines, are there any resources that you would recommend to book designers? I mean, we've got this whole library of books behind us.
So important having all these books, and outside
Yeah.
We've got a shelf full of really old typography books, which are fantastic. So we scan them and piece them together. And Pinterest is great. I would really recommend going out and seeing things the whole time. We have outings from the department every now and again to see exhibitions.
Yeah.
And it pops up. Inspiration comes around.
And you're right here in the centre of London.
Yeah.
So it's the ideal place to be,
Exactly.
really.
Always go out and see. It could be the cinema, or it could be, an exhibition. It could be the bookshop. It's surprising how.
Yeah.
That's all it needs.
Yeah, no, I definitely find that in my own work, that working in a bookshop actually just feeds that, because you think, oh, I love this, I want to be able to do something, and you aspire to that, or you go, oh, no, I can do better than that.
Or it would be a non-fiction book with some fantastic photographs in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then you only see it, and it's, a subject matter that's parallel will come up and feed it away.
Concluding question. It's a very broad question, but what do you think it is that makes a great book cover?
I think it's being original within that format, and of course you've got to, catch the passerby's eye and engage them, get them to pick it up. But if you can be original and different, and that's what you need to do. That's the essence of it, I think.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
It's been wonderful chatting.